Cody Rhodes' opponent for Double or Nothing is revealed, and is CM Punk returning to wrestling? It's all coming up next on the Squared Circle Psychobabble. Hello and welcome to the Squared Circle Psychobabble. My name is Michael Valenti. This is Ralph Valenti. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications as we're trying to hit 5,000 YouTube subscribers before All Elite Wrestling, Double or Nothing. And Ralph, we had quite a push there last week with the subscribers.
Yes, we did. Absolutely.
So thank you guys that have subscribed already, and we hope to keep you entertained on future episodes here. But let's talk about the big news this weekend involving All Elite Wrestling Double or Nothing. Cody Rhodes' opponent finally revealed, and it is, in fact, his brother, Dustin Rhodes, that will be his opponent for Double or Nothing. And we took to Twitter, we took to our YouTube community page, asked the people what their reaction is to this, and by quite the majority, they all voted that it was awesome. Do you agree with the public opinion?
I think it's predictable, but at the same time, I do think that it is going to be awesome. I only think this is awesome because it's happening outside of the WWE and because it's going to happen in All Elite Wrestling, where we do know that their fan base tends to be the more hardcore fan base. Had this been done on a WWE pay-per-view, other than one of the bigger shows, I think this would probably be towards the bottom of the match list. I don't think this would be necessarily be as big, just because we always talk about this. WWE is trying to produce a show and content for the majority, right, for the masses. I think with AEW right now, their following is just really the hardcore fans, the fans that really are up to date with all of the wrestlers and the history of the wrestlers and where they've been and what their accomplishments are. And had this happened in WWE, I think a lot of the fans would have been like, well, yeah, we understand the connection between the two, but Goldust really isn't a top tier guy. Where outside of, if this happens outside of WWE, they're going to understand, the relationship between the two, the fact that, this means more than just, this is Goldust versus his brother and etc.
Now, they did have this match in WWE. It was Fastlane, the year Cody was released. So was that 2016, if I remember correctly? Maybe 2015. It's hard to go back so far. It all merges together all the years. But that match wasn't a great match, and it ended kind of abruptly. And to, quote the term, dusty finish happened there. And it seemed like they were leading to a WrestleMania match because that was the next pay-per-view. And then the storyline just got dropped randomly. So this could be a continuation of that. And I don't know if you got to see the video yet.
I did, yeah.
So when I first saw that Cody Rhodes was going to be the opponent, my initial reaction was, wow, that's predictable.
Dustin,
you
right?
Said
Cody.
Sorry, Dustin being the opponent. Wow, that's predictable.
Yeah, I think everyone assumed that's who the opponent was going to be.
Right. I mean, but then you get some people saying, oh, it could have been Goldberg. Oh, it could have been CM Punk. It could have been MJF. But, as soon as MJF was announced to be in the Battle Royal, there's only two things that could happen. One, it was going to be Dustin, or two, it would be the winner of the over the budget Battle Royal, and then MJF would win it. So either way, it seemed like it was a predictable opponent. And there's nothing wrong with predictability as long as it makes sense. Just to me, it felt like a little bit of a letdown and kind of like as predictable as WWE. Had this been in WWE, I think people would have been outraged of the predictability of this.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. It seems like right now, and don't get me wrong, WWE has a lot of things that it does wrong. The booking sometimes is questionable. The storylines aren't necessarily linear or don't follow a path that has any type of logic to it from time to time. There's a lot of things and a lot of finger pointing you can do when it comes to the WWE product.
Yeah.
But with this, I came away from it saying this was a little predictable. I don't have a problem with it. I think they'll tell the story right. I think if the video package is any indication, they're going to push the right button so this feels like it's a personal thing leading up to the match.
Yeah, the video was great.
Yeah, it was well put together. It was well produced. Like I said, this will attract the hardcore fans who will understand this is more than just like a match that's thrown on a card. It's going to have significance because of the relationship between the two, because of who their father is, and because of what's on the line. You know, this is AEW's first match, the first major thing probably these two are going to be doing um outside of WWE, especially for Goldust or
Right.
Dustin, whatever you want to call him. So there's all of that going for it. Had this happen on WWE, I do think that the fans would have pointed at this and been like, yeah, well, it's predictable. It's WWE doing what they do all the time. It would have meant something to the hardcore WWE fans who followed Goldust for years. But like I said, you look back to, you know, all of Goldust's most recent runs, he hasn't done much. If
Right.
he's not relevant, the match isn't going to mean much.
Yeah. I mean, the most relevant thing that he's done in WWE for the last couple of years was the mixed match challenge with Mandy Rose.
Right. And going back to his last interactions with Cody, they were obviously tag champions. They won the tag team titles from the Shield, I think. That was at Battleground.
Yeah, that was a
Going back
long time
yeah,
ago.
But that was, and their father was involved in that storyline. So if they were going to feud coming out of that, maybe it would mean more.
Right.
You know, so I'm looking forward to the match, and I think the match will be good. I think we'll have a good lead up into it. But yeah, I mean, it just seems like sometimes fans just want to crap on anything WWE does. And had this happened in WWE, I'm sure people would have done the same thing with this.
Yeah, I totally agree. But let's move on to our next big thing that happened over the weekend, and that is CM Punk. Or is it CM Punk? Let us know in the comments if you actually thought this was CM Punk in this rumored indie, well, not rumored indie show, but was it actually him at the indie show? So for those that don't know, MKE Wrestling in Wisconsin had a show, and in one of their matches, there's a masked wrestler under a hood that gave one of the wrestlers a GTS, which is CM Punk's finishing move. Now, the person was wearing a hoodie and jeans, so you couldn't see any of his tattoos and really couldn't see anything about CM Punk saying it was CM Punk. Now, Silas Young, who owns this promotion, went onto Twitter and said it was CM Punk. And to add to this, one of the wrestlers at the promotion took a picture with CM Punk and said, you know, posted it, and CM Punk replied, "Nice meeting you tonight." And CM Punk was wearing that shirt. Now, in this picture, both CM Punk and the guy that was in the picture with him have very similar builds. One is slightly taller. CM Punk's slightly taller than the other guy. So obviously people are saying it's definitely CM Punk. Where some are saying it's definitely not CM Punk and he's working the crowd, working the wrestling industry. So do you think it was or was not CM Punk?
So I find myself in the latter of the two categories. I don't think this was CM Punk. I think this is, you know, you said, oh, well, Silas Young said it was. Yes, of course he's going to say that because look what's going on right now. As soon as that moment happened and it got out, it leaked that, oh my God, that might have been CM Punk. It was all over Twitter. It was all over YouTube. It was all over Facebook. All of the dirt sheets were posting, oh, was that CM Punk? Was it? I don't know if it was CM Punk, and probably the only person that's going to know if it was CM Punk is Silas Young and CM Punk himself. So I think this was actually them kind of trolling the internet, trolling the wrestling community. So we're going to do what we're doing right now, talk about this, get his name out there. The one thing that this does do is it's encouraging because for somebody like Punk who said so many times that, you know, he had no interest in getting back into wrestling. He didn't want to get back into it. He didn't want to go back to it at all. All the comments he may have made, to see him just at a show, at an actual wrestling show on the independent scene is encouraging because maybe he is getting the itch. Now that AEW seems to be a legitimate thing, you know, does he show up at Double or Nothing?
Or All In 2, which is happening in Chicago.
So yeah, I mean, did he have this little run-in? I don't know. But he was at a show.
Yes.
And that's encouraging to me because maybe that could mean future things and future events where he may actually wrestle.
Right. Now, I will say, I believe it is the former. I think it was, in fact, him.
Okay.
I went on, you know, I followed the videos. I saw what some of the reporters were saying. Sean Ross Sapp, Fightful.com. He pretty much put the pieces together to make me believe this. In fact, he was saying how this wasn't even the first time CM Punk has done this since he's left WWE. In fact, there was a time in 2014 where this happened, or excuse me, 2015 when this happened. So, you know, it could be that this is the start. And we saw Cody and Hangman Page invade indie shows. We saw the Young Bucks invade indie shows. So it could happen. I know we say CM Punk would never go back into wrestling, and a lot of people think that, but there's always those few that say that he's got the itch again.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think it was him, especially when you see the hoodie. He's wearing the hoodie, and that other picture on Instagram, Silas Young is saying that it is him. I get your point. He's just trying to create the buzz, getting people talking, but why go out of your way this much to do a work for an indie show that no one's going to remember 2 weeks from now?
Well, just because he's CM Punk and he's going to get some exposure.
Right, but how's that going to draw for MKE Wrestling?
Well, because we're talking about it.
Yeah, but
that's probably the most exposure they've gotten.
True.
And probably forever. So
I get that.
If I'm Silas Young and I own this company, this independent company, of course I'm going to say, yeah, of course that was CM Punk.
Yeah.
It could have been some guy from the front row, but if they were going to get away with it and say it's CM Punk, look what's happening now. He's getting all this exposure.
Yeah.
That's smart business.
Of course it's smart business, but to me, I definitely think it was.
Conspiracy theories.
You're a master of conspiracy theories. You're always telling me all these different conspiracy theories when I try to debunk every single one, though.
Listen, just because a UFO crashed in Roswell doesn't mean, we can't talk about wrestling and CM Punk.
True, but this could be an episode of Dark Side of the Ring. Was it CM Punk?
There you go.
That's a great show, by the way.
I love that show.
That is a great show.
The Bruiser Brody special was intense.
Yeah.
For anybody who hasn't seen that, definitely go out of your way to take a look at it.
Yeah, the Bruiser Brody one, and I really like the Montreal Screwjob one.
Yeah. The Montreal Screwjob one was good, but it didn't say anything that I didn't already necessarily know.
The only thing that I did somewhat learn, which I'm not sure which side is true, but who actually came up with the finish? Was it Jim Cornette or Vince Russo?
Yes.
And I tend to believe Jim Cornette more than Vince Russo.
That was the one thing I didn't necessarily know. One interesting point. Who is actually the king of the bros? Is it Vince Russo or is it Matt Riddle? That's something I want. That's an episode I want to see.
That's a future episode of the Squared Circle Psycho
There you
Babble.
go.
I'll take Vince Russo on that because he says bro for like every sentence. But we're digressing here. Let us know in the comments what you think of Dustin versus Cody at Double or Nothing, and if in fact CM Punk was at MKE Wrestling this weekend. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications as we're trying to hit 5,000 YouTube subscribers before All Elite Wrestling, Double or Nothing. For Ralph Valenti, my name is Michael Valenti, and thank you for watching the Squared Circle Psycho Babble.